They thought they built the perfect system, perfectly calibrated to manufacture outcomes, perfectly insulated from any accountability, most especially from you, the voter. And all of it completely, totally legal. And for the last several years, they dared anyone to stop them. Well, somebody finally accepted that dare. President Trump just dropped a bombshell that's about to blow this entire Democrat machine to pieces. And the states that built it, they have no idea what's about to hit them, but they're about to find out. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, back in this studio to help you make sense of the madness with breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. So you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, a quick reminder, registration for my private after-hours meetup in Atlanta is still open. We only have 12 spots left. This is completely free for conference attendees, but once it's full, it's full. There's also a VIP upgrade available right now at the early bird rate at $97, and that won't last long either. Just scan the code below to reserve your free spot and lock in your VIP rate before it's gone, and I'll see you in Atlanta. We are all witnessing a masterstroke on the part of President Trump to finally crush Democrat corruption once and for all. In fact, it's a series of masterstrokes that, when combined, signal the death knell for the fraud machine that the Democrats built over the last several years. It really is nothing short of the federal government calling the bluff of particularly California and every blue state that has spent the last decade quietly rigging their election systems. And here's the key: rigging them legally, right? We talked about this while I was in Brazil last week. The real scandal that we're seeing unfold in California's mayoral election was never fraud per se. It was that the laws were made to make the fraud legal. California's election system is the fraud. That's what you have to get. That's why the legacy media can pretend that there's absolutely nothing wrong with counting ballots 5 weeks after an election day. It's precisely because California's laws mandate that. They literally mandate fraud. The real scandal is that California Democrats didn't need to do anything actually illegal. They didn't need to cheat as far as their own laws were concerned. They just brazenly changed the laws and made the cheat itself in the law. And as of today, the Trump administration is calling that bluff. Two can play that game. Two can use the law to politically bury their opponents, and that is exactly what the Trump administration is doing as we speak. The United States Postal Service has proposed a sweeping new rule that will require states to hand over their mail-in and absentee voter rolls with corresponding unique barcodes attached to each ballot before the post office will process and deliver a single mail-in ballot. Under the new rule, states must submit to the U.S. Postal Service a verified list of legal voters, citizen voters, who are authorized to receive mail-in ballots for federal elections, along with each voter's personalized barcode linked to their specific ballot envelope. And the post office then returns a finalized mail-in and absentee participation list to each state's chief election official. So there are all kinds of checks and balances here. And here's the kicker. Voters who receive mail-in ballots must be included on that final verified participation list, a list that certifies that they're all legal citizens and that they haven't moved out of the state and the like. They have to check out on this list, and if they don't, their ballots either don't get mailed in the first round of verification or they don't get counted in the second round of verification with the state's chief election official. And if states refuse to comply with that system, if they refuse to hand over their voter rolls for verification, then the U.S. Postal Services simply will not process or deliver those ballots, full stop, as one autopen justice would say. If California, for example, continues to refuse to turn over their voter rolls for citizenship and other legal verification, then their entire mail-in ballot scheme collapses. Now, this isn't a random bureaucratic initiative. This is the direct implementation of President Trump's executive order signed in March of this year, which directed the Postmaster General to initiate rulemaking to ensure that ballots are sent only to individuals on a state-specific mail-in and absentee participation list. The White House made it crystal clear the United States Postal Service, which comes ultimately under the direction of the executive branch of the federal government, will ensure ballots are sent only to eligible, legal, citizen voters, and that return ballots are also from those very same eligible citizen individuals. Now, you have to understand how directly this demolishes California's voting scheme. California's automatic voter registration law makes voter registration automatic for every person who submits an application for a driver's license or ID card. Now, you might ask, well, don't we verify citizenship at the DMV? And the answer is yes, the DMV collects citizenship information, but the law, and this is the devil in the details, the law specifically prohibits the DMV from uploading that citizenship information for voter registration purposes. And it goes even deeper because the law explicitly states that any non-citizen who becomes registered as a result shall be presumed to have acted with official authorization and shall not be guilty of fraudulently voting. California made non-citizen voting legally excusable in the statute on purpose. Then California passed a law allowing same-day registrants. People who walk into a polling location, homeless, you name it, to just walk in and they can register on election day itself to immediately cast a non-provisional ballot with no full citizenship verification, no check against existing databases, no confirmation that the address is even legitimate or that they even have an address. And then, as if it couldn't possibly get worse, California sends a mail-in ballot to every single person on those already clearly corrupt voter rolls, regardless if they're here in this country legally or if they're still even in the state. And once those ballots are mailed out, California's ballot harvesting laws allow anyone, underscore that, anyone to collect and return ballots on behalf of voters with almost no restrictions, with no limit on how many ballots one person can turn in, and no requirement for chain of custody verification. A person could pick up a bunch of Republican ballots and throw them all in the trash or burn them, and we would never know. And those ballots don't even need to arrive on Election Day. California accepts mail-in ballots postmarked by Election Day and received up to 7 days later. Again, all perfectly legal. That is the scandal. That is the fraud. The fraud is baked into the law itself. But now Trump is really doing something about it. And what he's proposing threatens to blow up the entire Democrat system. Wait until you see this. I know you keep telling yourself at some point in the future you're going to buy and store away a few dozen gallons of water just in case an emergency hits your family and the water shuts off. We've all experienced it. The storm hits, the faucet stops working, and we're left wondering how long it's going to be before we have drinking water again. Every time it happens, we kick ourselves for not being more prepared. Well, here's an easy step that you can take that costs less than a dinner out. It's called the Pure Water Straw, and it can clean an entire year of water for you. It's absolutely amazing. It's the perfect emergency tool for making sure your family always has clean water through a disaster. So I got a little bit of some dirty water here, as it were. And what you do is you just take it out and you take the top off. And then what you can do is you can drink from any water source, no matter how dirty. Check this out. I'm kidding. I kid you not. It tastes just like water. This is coffee, obviously. I don't taste the coffee. It's just water. I mean, I, this is amazing. The pure water straw allows you to drink from literally any water source, from the pond, from the mud puddle, the bucket that caught the rainwater, even, I kid you not, even the toilet. The pure water straw instantly cleans out bacteria, pathogens, and debris and purifies the water. So you can drink clean water from any source without worrying about, puking your guts out. We have these in our home. We got them in our cars. We've got them in our go bags. Or emergency responders actually recommend having one of these on hand for every member of your household. They store well in their sealed bag. It's a tool your family would be able to count on for years to come. Now, if a takeout meal is more important than a year of clean water for your family, well, then obviously the pure water straw isn't for you. But if you know how important clean water is and understand how quickly a disaster can change everything, then getting a few of these pure water straws is a no-brainer. It's the most logical next step, both for your peace of mind, but also from an investment price standpoint, because normally these are $45 each, but today the makers, Sierra Madre, need to make some space in their Wisconsin warehouse, and so they're marking these guys down over 60% with free shipping to boot. Click the link in the description below and grab yours today so your family's ready for the next crisis or disaster. You won't regret it. Click on that link below right now. What's essential to get is that President Trump's executive order does not repeal or overturn California's laws. It can't. We're a federalist system. The Constitution reserves election administration to the states, and Trump knows that. What he is doing instead, actually, is something far more elegant. He's using the federal government's own levers, specifically United States Postal Service, which is a federal entity, to create a choke point that every blue state has to pass through in order to conduct a mail-in election. Now, think about what the U.S. Postal Service rule actually does, right? You want to run a mail-in ballot election, right? Well, like the state of Washington, as I understand it, it is entirely mail-in ballot. All right, fine, no problem. The federal government will happily carry those ballots for you, but first, you're going to hand us your voter rolls. You're going to attach unique trackable barcodes to every single ballot. You're going to give us a verified participation list. And simultaneously, the Department of Homeland Security, working with the Social Security Administration, is compiling state citizenship lists from federal citizenship and naturalization records, Social Security records, and other federal databases, and transmitting those lists to states at least 60 days before every federal election. So what this means in plain English is frankly breathtaking. The federal government is essentially telling California, telling Illinois, telling New York, your voter rolls are going to get checked against a federal citizenship database. Your mail-in ballots are going to get barcodes. Your election is going to have a chain of custody, or you will have no mail-in ballots at all. So Trump isn't waiting for Congress to pass the Save America Act, and he's obviously not waiting for blue states to comply voluntarily. They're threading the needle of executive authority to federalize the one part of the election process that every mail-in ballot state cannot avoid, the federally authorized post office. Now, if we widen the lens here, we'll see that something even bigger is happening. We're watching the emergence of what political analysts are now calling a new populism. And that figure that crystallizes it most perfectly, ironically, is not President Trump. It's none other than Spencer Pratt, the Republican candidate for LA mayor. And while he didn't advance to November's runoff, he won something far more important. He changed the national conversation. Pratt called himself the look-around candidate, with an entire platform resting on a single proposition. You don't need to be a policy wonk to know something is broken. Just look around. Just look around. And what do you see? Homelessness, dilapidated sidewalks, out-of-control crime, rampant disorder, rising costs, empty water reservoirs. Pratt said what every Angelino was already thinking, and it went viral. A single post in which Pratt wrote, quote, "There's no R next to my name. There's no D next to my name. I'm a pissed off Angelino who loves my city and is fed up with what corrupt politicians have done to her." That one tweet garnered more than 2 million views. And analysts are now describing what Pratt represents as localized populism. You might want to write that down. Localized populism. It's distinct from both MAGA populism and the left-wing populism of Mamdani, where instead of identifying an ideological enemy like corporations or the deep state or the oligarchy, the grievance is directed closer to home, toward the specific people responsible for the empty reservoir, for the drug-addled encampments, for the home burned down in a fire that hasn't been rebuilt. And here's the key. The same populist energy, the same look-aroundism that powered Spencer Pratt's viral campaign in L.A. is exactly what is powering the grassroots demand for election integrity around the country, because people are looking around. It doesn't matter what the legacy media says. It doesn't matter how much they try to apologize and shill for these California Democrats. It doesn't matter. They're watching ballots get mailed to dead voters. They're watching the counts take weeks to finish. They're watching ballot harvesters drive around collecting ballots with no chain of custody. They're watching the person who placed second on election night suddenly get thrown to third a week later. And they're saying, this ain't right. They're in effect saying, enough. The people are taking back their elections. And the man they sent to do it ultimately, nationally, is Donald J. Trump. And he's using the post office as his cheap weapon. The U.S. Postal Service rule is not just a bureaucratic tweak. It's the federal government inserting itself as the gatekeeper of every mail-in election in America, forcing blue states into a binary choice. Either verify your voter rolls or lose your mail-in voting program altogether. The new populism isn't just about local politics. It's about the fundamental belief that the people, not the machine, not the bureaucracy, not the ballot harvesters, the people should decide who governs them. California Democrats thought they built a perfect system. Perfect for them. But nothing about it is built to last once the American people decide they've had enough. And that may indeed be Spencer Pratt and ultimately Donald Trump's greatest victory of them all. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button for breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. Love you guys. God bless. Gang, the news is not slowing down, and neither are we. The best thing you can do right now is get on the Patriot Alert newsletter so you are never the last to know when something big breaks. Scan the QR code on your screen and sign up today. Stay ahead, stay informed, stay free.